Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I've got a special Q&A video with FalconFan1414. This is my first collaboration video, and if you don't know who he is, FalconFan is a prominent figure in the LEGO community. He's known for giving us a lot of information on upcoming LEGO sets, and he just started a YouTube channel. So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk to him about some stuff to give more attention to his channel.
Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be here. I know I did just start my YouTube channel, well, actively making videos and stuff. You can find it. It's FalconFan1414, and I'd appreciate it if you go like and subscribe.
All right, so we've got questions from a bunch of different places. I've got a couple, then we have a few from YouTube, but the most are coming from Instagram. So I'm going to start off with my questions. So my first question for you was, when did you first get into Lego?
Well, as a kid, I was always really into Lego. Then I want to say when I was around 13 years old, I had a period of extreme downtime, I'll call it, and I ended up really getting into Lego, and yeah, and more prominently, like I found after that, I found at Eurobricks, and I became an active member there. Then I started to get my sources and stuff like that. So then I became, kind of the leaker figure there. Then I eventually decided to move to Instagram, and that's where my platform has really taken off. And now I've decided to, maybe not full time, but a little bit here and there, switch over to YouTube.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when you were like on the Eurobricks forums, because I've been on that site since like 2015 now. And I remember seeing you, and then you started like giving us all of this information, and now you're like at least one of the sources that I trust the most. So it's really cool to be able to do this video with you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of just amazing how it started as just a simple hobby and now it's turned into like one of my biggest passions, and it's a lot of fun. It's something that when I first even started building, I didn't even know about this, like as prominent of a member as I am. It's something like I can't even imagine like giving up. I know at some points, like, yeah, I've needed to take a little bit of a break from it, but it's something I love with all my heart, and I think it's really fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. So my second question was, what's your favorite Lego set or theme? Because I know it can be really hard to just choose like an all-time favorite set.
Oh gosh, that's tough. I have a lot of different favorite sets. I know, let's see. One of my favorites is the original Atlantis temple, because that, like, the city of Atlantis, I think it's called, or like it's something like that. Um, but actually, I'm gonna do something a little fun here. Stay tuned because there's a set coming soon that reminds me a lot of that set, and I'm very excited for it. But yeah, I think my overall favorite following me is superheroes, specifically Marvel superheroes. That was probably one of the first like Lego themes I collected with passion. Like I made sure I got every single set. I was always very excited for those.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love Marvel superheroes, but ever since Harry Potter's come back in 2018, that's like completely superseded it for me. Um, but yeah, and then my third question for you was like, how did you get into the leak community? Because I know that you didn't like show up on the Lego scene as a leaker. It kind of developed.
It honestly, this is a really funny story. Um, Before I kind of got into the leaking community because I knew what I was talking about. Um, I think it was years ago. I'm trying to think of when I started. I don't know the exact year it was, but it was whenever the Ninjago hunted sets were coming out. That's when I really got into it, and mainly someone contacted me because um, they're like, okay, you seem to know what you're talking about. Here's information. Here's a bunch of information. I'll help you with stuff like that. And then it kind of built from there. And with some of the information he gave me, I was able to break some of the my first real big scoops. Like, I'm not sure if I know a lot of people have started following me at different times, but my first real scoop I ever broke was that Nexo Knights was ending. It was ending early, and I people are like, I don't believe you, I don't believe you, and then once I was proven right, they're like, oh dang.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I know that there's a lot of doubt around people when they first emerge as leakers, especially because there've been like really high profile incidents where people were faking, like just recently over the summer with that guy that like made up all the Harry Potter information.
Yeah, it's something I always laugh at in a way whenever I see, Lego on the Lego Leaks hashtag, people making up fake set lists or on Eurobricks trying to pose as someone who's in the know. Most of the time, it's like I laugh about it and I'll basically, if it's something I can talk about, like, and outright call them a liar, I will. But it's funny because it's in certain themes, people are like, it's something I've noticed, like with the Harry Potter fans, I'll use that as an example. People believe a lot there. Like, I don't know what that says about that community, but it's just like I see it and it's like, if there's like any kind of list, they'll be like, ooh, I believe this, I believe this. But if it's something like okay, like I'll use this as an example. Like DC superheroes. People don't believe anything there. So it's like, yeah, so it's like, I'll give you an example. Like, um I like one of my biggest leaks recently, it was a while ago, is I leaked like the entire first half year, which, if you guys don't know, is from January to May, of superhero prices that were originally supposed to come out then. And um there were a lot of missing ones because those were movie sets. And I basically kind of revealed that, yeah, the Batman was supposed to be getting sets, like the Batman the movie, that were originally supposed to come out this first half year, and they were supposed to be considered the flagship for DC for the first half year, which when Lego classifies things as flagships, it means they're gonna get like more than, it's like three or more sets, and they're gonna really focus on them. So in this case, Lego did focus on them, but I was like doubted for that, and people were like, no, the Batman's gonna be rated R. The Batman's gonna. Yeah, I think it's funny what, like, there's definitely within the Lego communities as a whole, within the different themes, there are definitely people who believe very easily and people who it's really hard to get them to believe.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like what you said about Harry Potter fans, I feel like it has to do with the fan base because Harry Potter fans, I think, are honestly a lot of them, I think, are just a lot of them I feel like are new. Like a lot of the people on Eurobricks, I feel like joined just to talk about Lego Harry Potter, and I feel like they're very hopeful. I feel like everyone is always very hopeful about Harry Potter just because it was gone from Lego for so long. And then the other problem I think is that even when a list is posted that like most people think is fake, everyone just likes to speculate anyway because we're all desperate for any crumb of information. And then because we speculate, I feel like it just kind of snowballs into people thinking it's real. Whereas for DC, like no offense to DC fans, I really love DC, but I feel like DC fans have a tendency to be like a little bit more cynical, so they don't want to believe things.
Well, I'll go and I guess calm the nerves and say that the Harry Potter information that's out there currently is legit. So you guys can believe that. I know I've said it before, but I'll reiterate that again.
I'm both happy to hear that and kind of disappointed. Like when I saw that list, I was so happy because I'm like, oh my God, so much Harry Potter in 2021. And then at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be so expensive. And 2020 was already so expensive for Harry Potter.
Is one thing like it, oh, sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Oh, so you cut out for me.
Sorry. But yeah, it's definitely 2021, especially in the summer. It's going to be expensive for a lot of people.
I guess it's a good thing my YouTube channel was recently monetized then.
Yeah, it's like there are some themes like I'll say this. You look at how small the first half year of Star Wars is. I think 2021 expensive for Star Wars than Lego 2020 was. So that should give you just an idea of how big the summer is going to be. And there's also much more. So people have asked me this about like the 18 plus sets and stuff like that. Lego, it seems like 2020 was just a small starting point for Lego in terms of their adult interactions, but it's going to get much, much bigger in 2021.
That's also interesting to hear because I like the 18 plus stuff that they're doing, like the new like flower sets and like the bonsai tree. And then I really liked the art sets. And I know that they've got more helmets coming, so I'm interested to see like what other adult things they can make. But I think I need to like get out of the collecting mentality early on because I feel like if I try to collect like the 18 plus sets, it's just going to be insane because of where they're going to go.
Well, how do I want to phrase this? When I say like it's focusing more on adults, it doesn't mean like 18 plus like the flowers or the art sets. It just means that there's going to be a focus on giving larger sets. Like there's there's a first for a couple themes in terms of like big sets, and it's just like it seems that they're trying to cater on both ends, and I think they're going to do it in a lot of different ways, and I think people are going to be really surprised at the results.
I always love getting big Lego sets, especially like for Marvel. I'm thrilled that we're getting like a Marvel direct to consumer set next year. But honestly, in 2019 and 2020 especially, I've been feeling like it's a little bit of overkill because especially over the summer in 2020, I feel like they were releasing like two direct to consumer sets like every month. And I just found it like overwhelming as a Lego fan because every time you see a new set that you want, like there's another one coming out that you want more. Because in July, they revealed the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, but I thought that that was a really cool set, and so I was like, oh, maybe I would get that. And then they came out with the grand piano, and I was like, oh, I think I want to get that. And then before I bought that, I heard rumors about the Coliseum, so then I held off to get the Coliseum, and then I've ended up buying none of them because like I just can't keep up.
Yeah, that problem is not going away in 2021. Actually, I think it will get worse because it's like I know many people are like excited about the Ninjago City docks, and then like next thing you know, it's like it goes like modular building, then the docks, and then there's just so much more coming that's like not even public yet, and it's just like, you know, it's a lot of people. I think a lot of people will be very happy because it's going to offer, like, I think everyone in the end will be happy because it's going to give like a taste of everything in a way, but at the same time I think people are going to have to definitely become more picky and choosy about which sets they get.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's not bad because then, like, at least everyone's going to have a chance to get something they want. But I know that for the first time in like in years, I think this is the first time in 4 years that I'm not going super hard on January 1st. Like, usually on January 1st, I drive out to the Lego store, like, with my mom, and I just buy like every single like newly released set. So this is the first time since like 2016 that I'm not doing that. And I mean, the only reason I didn't do that in 2016 is because I couldn't afford it. This year, I just don't want to buy all of these like random little sets when Lego's releasing so many good exclusives because I want to make sure I have enough money to buy the Ninjago City Gardens like as soon as they come out because like that's definitely right now my most anticipated 2021 set.
And we can talk about it in a second because I know that just leaked today actually, but well, like a blurry picture of it, but yeah, I definitely feel like Lego, it's in 2020 Lego tried to, I don't want to say blend like the kids and adults like like stuff together, but in a way they did, and in 2021 definitely separates in the winter time. So I think that's going to be like what's going on for you is going to happen to a lot of different people where it's like, all right, I'm just going to wait rather than and get like the big stuff rather than going out and getting like all the small stuff.
Yeah, and like just personally, the reason that I don't want to rush out and buy a ton of new stuff anymore. I mean, I just made a haul video. Like, I got a bunch of hidden side sets recently. I just built like the Lighthouse of Darkness. I think it's a cool set, but I also kind of regret buying it, even though I got it for like 30% off, because I'm just getting tired of like I feel like as I get older and like now that I'm in college, I feel like I'm getting tired of just regular sets and that I need to start only getting the big exclusives because like I want all of the new Ninjago Legacy sets. I'm definitely going to get them all, but the other thing is that if I just wait for a month, they're all going to be 20% off, so it's honestly better for me to not buy it on day 1.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people's mentality too is that's something I definitely ran into in the recent years. Like before, I would be going out and buy like everything on day one, but then it's like, when I was in school and stuff like that, and now that I'm, still in school, but like past college, I don't know. It's something where I definitely see spreading out your purchases a little bit more. Like I didn't buy the clock tower set for Harry Potter, and then I ended up getting it for like $30, and I'm just like I definitely think the set is worth more than $30, but I'm just like $30 for that is an amazing deal.
Yeah, my problem with Harry Potter is that I have no self-restraint. Like I need to buy it on day 1 this year because things were delayed because of COVID. I didn't even wait. I pre-ordered them from like a shop in the Netherlands in June, and so I got them by July. And I mean, honestly, I should wait because again, if I just wait like a month or two, they'll be on sale. I won't be spending as much money, but like I need them on day 1. But I mean, at least that's a problem that I only have with Harry Potter.
I mean, I feel like that's people's problem. Like, I wouldn't even say it's a problem. It's just like when people have a certain theme that they love, they want to get those sets like right away. Like, they don't even want to wait. They want those sets as soon as possible. And I think, personally, if you have to ask yourself, oh, what's my favorite theme, and you can't really decide. Well, it's going to be those sets you have to go purchase on day one, like the entire theme.
Yeah, for sure. So now I thought we could transition to the YouTube comments.
Sure.
So the first comment was, "Do you remember the first Lego set you ever got, and who got it for you?"
Oh gosh. Um. Okay, I don't think that this was my first ever Lego set, but I remember one of my first real Lego sets. I think it was in like 2008. It was like it was one of the smaller Lego Asian sets. I got it at like because I'm from like the tri-state area. I know I've said that before. Um, but like I happened to be in New York at the time, and I was at like the Toys R Us there, and I happened to get it. And yeah, that's my earliest memory of a set that like I bought and I built up all by myself. I know that there was stuff before that, but that's my biggest one.
Yeah, I feel like it's really hard to like pinpoint like memories that early because I know my dad like bought me Lego Technic like around like the same time, like 2008, 2009, because he had Technic when he was a kid. So he was like, "You're going to get into Lego Technic and you're going to do all this stuff." And I just never liked Technic, but I've got like two cranes from that. And then there was like this old Kingdom set, like a $30 like prison tower with like a horse. And like those are probably the earliest sets I remember getting.
Yeah, I know that there's definitely sets. Like I know I probably got sets before that, but like especially with those memories, it's like I remember like you really remember when you get like truly back into Lego. Like I remember pretty much every purchase I've made before like then and up, but at sometimes like I'll see like a picture of me from there and I'll be like building like an Indiana Jones set or something like that. That's now worth like triple in value, and I'm just like, geez, I don't even have probably any of those figures anymore.
Yeah, I had a SpongeBob set, like the space rocket ride one, where all of the minifigures were astronauts.
Yeah, I had
And
that too.
yeah, and I really I loved that set. And I took it to like a water park thing, and there was like a sand pit, and I buried all of the minifigures, and then I only ever found Sandy and SpongeBob. So I lost Patrick in that sand pit, and it like killed me when we had to leave because I was like, no, like where's Patrick? Like why did I bury him?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. I have a little cousin, and I try to teach him to like, I'm like, you better like apply the stickers carefully, don't go burying your minifigures in sand pits, like you're gonna regret it when you're older.
Yeah, that's my little cousins that love Lego too, and asked me to help them build tech. Like they're good sets. You'll like it when you're older.
Yeah. And then the second question from YouTube was, have you ever made a mock that you've been particularly proud of, and what was it?
I mean, I guess I've never really been into mocking necessarily. I mean, I've definitely like when I was younger or when I would like babysit my younger cousins, I would make like, like everyone does those little like spaceships and stuff like that. But I've never really been into mocking. Not like I think I would be great at it. I've just never organized. Like if I were to get into mocking, I would have to really sit down because I have like buckets and buckets of spare parts. Like I would have to just organize them, I feel like, in order to be able to mock. And it's just like I don't know. I feel like it's not worth my time at this moment. Like I feel like eventually I could get into it, but for right now, I don't see the point.
Yeah, I've made a couple of mocks that I'm really proud of. I made like this one giant helicarrier that was like minifigure compatible, not minifigure scale. But I was really proud of that. That was like before I bought the official Lego one, and I never made a YouTube video about it, which I kind of regret. But I feel like I'm one to gravitate towards modifying existing sets rather than completely making my own from scratch, because I've got like a huge like 3 foot tall Avengers tower, and I just built off of Lego's template for the 2015 one and just added like 7 floors, and I absolutely love it. And I'm about to do the same thing to the like Daily Bugle set from 2014, but I would never start from scratch on either of those things because I feel like I just wouldn't know where to begin.
Like it's not even like where like I feel like I would know where to begin. It's just like if if someone put me in an environment where it's like, okay, here's the bricks, like basically extremely organized. Like I'm not an organized person at all. You can probably see that with like the way I post. Like sometimes I'll make schedules and I just won't follow them at all. But it's like I feel like if I were to get into mocking, I would have to become much more organized, which I don't think will happen for probably a long time.
Yeah, getting organized is definitely hard. I've been like trying to color sort my parts collection for like 2 years, and now it's like mostly done. But now that it's color sorted, I think I've realized that I need to sort it by like part type, which like I've been Googling how to organize Legos, and that's something that a lot of people say is like you're going to start out by color and then you're going to realize you need to do it by piece type. And it's such a headache because I mean, I go to school 600 miles away from home. So when I come home 3 times a year, I have sets to build. I want to hang out with my family. Like I don't want to be organizing my collection by piece type. So it's definitely really hard to get organized.
Hello?
Sorry, you cut out.
I think you cut out for a second.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
sorry about that.
I was
Uh,
just talking about what a
I don't
headache
know
to organize by piece
I don't
type.
know what happened there.
Um, all right, so now let's move on to the Instagram questions. So we have like 12 from Instagram. So
Yeah, we
starting
have a
out,
lot of different.
yeah, we definitely got. I feel like we got a decent amount. Not too much, but not too little. So someone asked, "Just Too Good or Mandar?"
See, that's the. I know that there's definitely parts of the community that prefer one or the other. I'm actually good friends with both of them. I talk to each of them like regularly. Like I talked to Justin yesterday, and I think I talked to Ryan today. They're both nice people. I like them both. They're some of my good friends in the community. So for that question, I'm gonna have to give a classic fan answer.
Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Oh, where did it cut out?
You said you were going to have to give a classic something.
Oh yeah, a classic Falcon fan answer and say that I don't prefer one or the other. I like them both.
Yeah, I don't know them personally. I remember when I was like just starting out in YouTube in like 2013, Just Too Good wasn't anywhere near as big as he is now, but he was still like fairly big. And I remember that he subscribed to me and I was like shocked. I was like, "Oh my God." And he was like, "Oh, I remember what it was like to be a small channel, like good luck." And I just thought that that was really nice, that he would like take like his time to do that. And so I've been watching him longer, so like I personally just like prefer him a little bit more. But that's not to say I don't like Mandar. I don't know them like you do.
Well, it was like I guess one of my kind of moments where I knew I made it. I think it was, I can't even remember exactly when, but I first started out, I really liked watching. This is before I even discovered MNR. The first YouTuber, well, I would say second because the Brick Show was the first. I want to say, but really, Justin was the second YouTuber I ever really discovered, and I was a big fan of his. And especially when I first really started to get into leaking, like I would give him stuff occasionally, and I would just like message him asking him if like certain things were true. And I always thought, wow, he's such a cool guy. and then when he like followed me on Instagram, we started to talk and we started to become like friends, and we, you know, I thought, wow, you know, like this is kind of the like a moment, you know, you've made it, is when like someone you grew up watching is like now your friend.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. I'm really like I know all of like those big YouTubers. Like that's why I'm really excited to be doing this collaboration with you because like I know that you're not at like quite as big as like Just Too Good, but I mean you're still a pretty prominent figure, and I'm just kind of trying to get like my channel back on its feet because I have not uploaded regularly in like years since like 2013. Um, so I'm kind of just trying to like revitalize that, but I've got this whole like world builder project coming out, right? Like I'm the first person to be like put through development on world builder, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm hoping that that'll like kind of bring my channel a little bit more attention.
Yeah, that's like it's something where I guess like with I know a lot of different YouTubers, like like they take giant leaps to, you know, like it's big when you started a YouTube channel or something like that, and you're not monetized, or you're not monetized well, where you're only making like a buck 50 off each video, and it's just like it's all about that first step. It's all about the hard work and dedication. And yeah, not everyone is gonna become as big. It's something, this advice actually I give to a lot of people, because a lot of people will reach out to me, especially as my Instagram page has gotten bigger, and be like, Falcon, I want to be like you. What can I do? And all I can say is it's dedication. It's something where you're not, you know, out there, where you're working at it every single day. You're working at improving. You're looking at things like, okay, what can I do better? What are some flaws of mine? How can I, what works, what doesn't work? Like you have to essentially throw a lot of different things at the wall and hope they stick.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So moving on to the second question, it's what are the chances that Lego will try to revitalize the DC theme, or do you think that they're trying to kill it through lack of interesting sets or sets at all for that matter? And what could Lego do to bring more buyers to that theme?
See, when I always see that, I see that question a lot, because like we talked about earlier, I think I, no offense to DC fans here, but they sometimes they could be very negative about the theme. Like DC, DC has always, they haven't struggled in sales, but like they're not, they're like middle of the pack. They're not at the point where, especially with Marvel, I don't think Lego Lego wants to keep those two running together. Um, but I don't think it's going to get canceled. But you look at it, it's like a lot of people compare DC to Marvel in terms of that, but when in reality they're much different. Like with DC, they, like people are complaining, oh, DC's what? Only getting like the 4+ Batman set and the cowl, like the cowl, whatever thing is. But it's like, no, no. In reality, DC was supposed to get the Batman sets, and they were trying to promote those. I don't think Lego's trying to kill DC at all. I mean, they made a minifigure series for them that sold pretty well, from my understanding. So I think when people say, "Oh, DC's not doing well, Lego's killing it," they aren't looking at the bigger picture. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, they should be doing non-Batman stuff, yada yada yada." Well, in the cases like say, I guess, like I'm trying to think, like, okay, like I'll use this as an example. People, I've been asked recently, why aren't we getting, like, now that the Justice League like full director's cut is going to HBO Max, why aren't we getting sets on those? And I'll say, because Justice League sets haven't sold well. They've sold okay, but not the movie sets. Those sold terrible. But it, like DC isn't necessarily sticking to the wall as well as Marvel has. So I think Lego is kind of in a bind, and they seem one thing that definitely seems to work for DC is the big direct to consumer sets like the 19 like the Batmobile and Batwing. And I think DC's getting sets in the summer. Um I'm not 100% sure about that. I think so. But it's like you look at I think I think the way that Lego can save the theme is advertise it more. Maybe not place all your chickens or your all your eggs into one basket. Because granted, no one knew COVID was going to happen, but it's like still kind of have an alternate way to like make sure that yeah, one theme isn't only getting two sets for the first half of the year.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like for 2020 DC, I feel like what kind of happened to like the MCU in 2020 is what happened to Lego DC superheroes, because it seemed like Lego consciously made the decision to go lighter on DC sets this year because we got the minifigure series, we got Wonder Woman versus Cheetah, which was a fantastic set. Then we got the three over the summer and the 1989 Batwing, which was a fantastic surprise. But it feels like they kind of chose to take a little bit of a break from DC. But then because COVID happened, like the Batman sets, like you were saying, got pushed from next summer. So now it just looks like they've had a year and a half of like no DC sets, which is what I think is causing people to think that they're trying to like kill it.
Well, you look at it and it's like they did a they had a minifigure series and a direct consumer set out at the same time. Those are big things, especially if the theme isn't doing is like if okay, how do I said that wrong. If Lego really wants like a minifigure series to sell like DC, they'll put it out and kind of have it stand on its own. They don't want people going out there and being like, "Oh, I'm going to buy all the Batman sets and I might pick up one minifig." No, they want people going out there and trying to get all 16 DC minifigures. And as a result, they also knew they had the big Batmobile set out there. They're like, they want people saving up their money. They want kids saving up their money to get that. So I think it's more DC's definitely like Lego DC has definitely taken just a different overall strategy than Lego Marvel, and people love to compare DC and Marvel, and that's why I think they think, oh, it's dying, quote unquote.
Yeah, honestly, I would love if they switched like if they switched strategies because I would love for Marvel to get as many direct to consumer sets as DC has gotten in the last what like 8 years.
Well, I know that there is another direct to consumer set that's supposed to come out at in the first half of this year. I think that's when yeah, that's when uh and I'm pretty sure it is Marvel. It's like $350. Um yeah, so I think that's when like I think like like the whole conversation about DC dying will come up again when people see what what's planned for Marvel. But overall, I don't think it's kind of it's again it's comparing apples and oranges. I don't think it's fair because like really Lego DC this first half of this year was supposed to be about the Batman, and now it's not. So they're stuck.
All right, and then moving on to the next question. Where are Golden, Nia, and Zayn? Why aren't they in any of the February or March sets?
Well, as I guess people have said, oh, um, Lego, I guess people think that Lego Ninjago's 10-year anniversary only lasts for, but, like 6 months. It lasts all year. It seems so. The 4+ sets complicated a little bit, but there are legacy sets coming in the summer, and I think we will see at least. Oh, this is how do I want to phrase this? Well, Golden, as you can see from the back of the boxes, Golden Zayn and Golden Nia are coming. One of them will get, they will be coming in the summer for Legacy. That's all I can say.
I'm definitely glad to hear that. Personally, I kind of wish that they had all six Golden Ninja had come out at the same time, just because I really think it's really weird to like advertise collect all six Golden Ninja on the back of the box in January when like two of them aren't even going to come out until August. Um, that just seems kind of strange to me because then if I was a kid and I was like, oh yeah, I want to get all six, and then you go look at like the store and you're like, but there are only four. Um, I just think it's kind of weird. I wish they had all come out at the same time, but I also understand why they split them up. I just think it's a shame that like Nia and Zayn are always the ones getting the short end of the stick.
Well, I don't think Nia will be getting the short end of the stick for very long, but I think it definitely has to do with sales trust, but it definitely it's definitely interesting that I feel like they they were the ones, I guess, you could push to the summer and have it be okay, because I feel like you couldn't push like really any of the four that got the golden figures in like January back to like June or August.
Yeah, and I'm sure August is going to bring us sets for season 15. Um, and I know that you said, like you just said, like Nia won't be getting the short end of the stick for long. And from what I know about season 15, um, I feel like that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there has been some stuff about season 15. I think that's what you're up to. That's been casually put out. It
Didn't
hasn't really been covered.
there's that new guy from Eurobricks, like Guy on 2002. I remember I've been seeing him on the forums for a little while. Didn't he say there's like a water dragon set coming out in the summer?
I would say he's just. Oh, sorry. You cut out for a second.
Oh, I was just saying like he said there's a water dragon set coming out over the summer.
Oh, I guess I can need. I I can neither confirm nor deny at this time. Wink.
um no, I get that. Also, I'm sure it must be really difficult for you like having all of this information and then choosing what to say and not say. Um
Well,
because
it's
like
it's more about like what I can say and what I can't say. I mean, if there were no such thing as consequences and no action from it, sure, I would have a lot. I would have more loose lips about this stuff, but there are you have to, especially in like a field like this, you're walking on a minefield. You have to be very careful.
yeah, because I mean, just from what I've heard about season 15 of Ninjago, like from other people in the community, if there's a water dragon set coming, which like obviously take it with a grain of salt, but for now I'm guessing it's real just because I don't really know. that guy who was like the source of it, but he's been leaking some other stuff, including that Marvel direct to consumer set. So I'm just going to go ahead and personally believe him. But he said there's a water dragon set. Then someone else said that season 15 is focused on Nia, um, which I would love to see because I'm really excited. I love Nia. I'm so glad that she's a ninja now. It really annoyed me how she wasn't at the start of the show. And so I'm really excited to see season 15. And through the development on like my world builder thing, they actually showed me part of season 15, and I loved what I saw, and I think it's going to be like my favorite season of Ninjago yet.
Oh, Kira, are you allowed to elaborate on that?
I'm really not, like not at all. It's so weird to me. I'm not used to having like confidential information, but I mean they made me sign two NDAs, so I don't want to say anything. Um, like I haven't
Yeah.
even told my best
Look,
friend.
yeah, no, that makes. I'll say this is when people say it's a Nia season, it's a guess. It's a very well educated guess. Like when the same, like in the same way, like for Masters of Mountains, you early on you could make an educated guess that it's a Cole season.
Yeah,
So the same thing can be said about season 15. Like for Prime, like I'll say it like this: for Prime Empire, you could tell it was going to be a J season. For season the season 15, um, it's as people will say when I'm sure the full list will eventually leak. Um, it's very much an educated guess. It's a strongly educated guess, and it's like like most likely real, but it's not one of those things you can obviously say. You could be like, it's a Nia season, you know. Hello?
yeah. Sorry, you cut out for a
Oh,
second.
sorry. Where did it cut out?
I think you were just saying that like you can't say for sure that it's a Nia season, but like you can kind of guess that it is.
Oh, sorry. I think you cut out again.
You were saying that you can't say for sure that it's a Nia season, but like you can kind of guess that it is.
Well, it's when people are making those assumptions. It's like it's more as general as when people see the inevitable list is they'll see like, okay, it's a Nia season when there's evidence, but there's not as clear evidence as like Prime Empire being Jay's season.
Yeah. I'm thrilled for season 15. I haven't seen seasons 11, 12, or 13 yet. I really need to catch up, but I'm just like the little bit that I saw got me really excited, and I cannot wait for the set list to leak because I think that Ninjago is going to bankrupt me in August between Ninjago and Harry Potter. And again, like I don't know anything about the sets. I'm just assuming that they're going to be like fantastic.
Like especially um especially when you become very high on the leaker chain, you kind of like I know in some places, even I think at one point in the Lego community, it was like there was essentially a war going on, like, oh, who's gonna leak the like like a competition, but especially now with some of my friends like in the community, like I definitely try to like you let people have their like you let people leak stuff because it's like okay, like that's their theme, you know, like you see people who are really dedicated to that theme. Like for me it's like people let me leak superhero information because it's like that's my theme, like that's a lot of what I've branded myself on, and that's also like my favorite theme. So definitely it's hard for me to talk about like the Ninjago stuff in detail because yeah, I do enjoy the Ninjago stuff, but at the same time, I don't consider it my theme, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like it's kind of funny because my channel name is Golden Ninja 3000 because I made it when I was like at the height of my Ninjago obsession. Like the show was ending and all of like the Golden Ninja Lloyd stuff happened and I started my YouTube channel. And so I think it's kind of funny because Ninjago is like my brand between the name and like my logo is like Lloyd's hood and everything. But I didn't really get back into Ninjago until this summer, which is because like my world builder idea was about Ninjago, and
Yeah.
I'm just
And
really
I think
glad.
it's
I'm really glad that I'm glad that I picked the name Golden Ninja 3000. I'm glad that I made Ninjago like my brand back in 2012 because I must have had incredible foresight based on what's happened to me like this year.
yeah, that's and I'll say it like I'll say it like this, like part of the reason I am like I'm definitely like when I buy like I'll buy all superheroes, but I'll be a little bit more like picky and choosy with which Ninjago sets I buy. But for this summer, especially with like where it's going, I have to pick like I have to buy them all. Like I just know I'm gonna have to buy them all.
Yeah, that's where I think I'm going to end up. And I can't wait for the leaked set list to come out because, like I said, I have no idea. Like, I feel like I could guess at what one of the sets is. I'm sure I could guess what like one or two of the sets is, but obviously I don't
Go
want to.
ahead.
But I can't
Go
wait.
go ahead. I want to hear what some of your wait, is it because of your NDA or
Yeah,
just
no, it's
because
it's it's I feel like I can certainly guess what two of the sets are based on what I've seen from the season, and so I'm not going to guess. Um, but when the set list comes out, which I'm assuming the set list is going to leak sometime in like maybe February or March, and so when that set list leaks, I will cover it with like great enthusiasm and by then I feel like my NDA will expire because my world builder project should be out in like the next few months. So hopefully I can talk a little bit more about it then.
yeah, I think I guess one of the like it's hard because again I'm not trying to step on people's toes, and so that was actually yeah it's funny, you know. I think people this I could end up like I guess for me because like this is the most hyped I've probably been for a Ninjago wave in a long time, and I think that's great.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that this is the most hyped I've been for a Ninjago wave like since the change because when they changed to the season 8 style, I didn't like it. Um, I had a whole call with the co-creator of Ninjago with Tommy. Like I literally hopped on a Zoom call with him just to ask him like all of my Ninjago questions because I really didn't like that they changed the designs, and so I haven't really loved like the set since then. Like Ninjago sets are fantastic. I think that they're still some of the best that Lego has made, and I really love the Legacy line. But season 15, I think that those sets are going to be the most hyped I've been for a Ninjago season in like the last 4 years.
I mean, it's something where it's like I get why they changed the design because it's like the they wanted to bring in the movie fans, even though the Ninjago movie didn't do as well as people thought it would. They still wanted to bring those fans in,
Hmm.
and looking at like the pre Sons of Garmadon Lloyd, that's much different than his movie design and then his season what are the Sons of Garmadon line. So you just feel like they definitely changed it to bring in those new fans. And that's kind of where my problem came in with the um with how they did this year for Ninjago and like the golden figures. I think the collectible mini like the golden ninjas, like I think that's a great idea. but I really don't think that they should have been for what like see like pretty much ever since like the quote unquote like soft reboot of it. Like I really think it should have been like past like do like season like the pilot season like two's like rebooted all of that. Yeah, and that's my problem is as much as it's like 10 years of Ninjago at the same time, it's feels like it's legacy 10 years.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for saying that because I doubt that you watch my videos, but in all of my legacy videos that I've made in like the last couple of weeks covering the new sets, that's been a major complaint of mine is that I love the golden minifigures, but I hate how they're all different designs. So having them different designs corresponding to like what season is about them, I think that that's cute. I definitely like some of them more than the others. Like my favorite golden figure right now is probably like the Prime Empire J, but I hate that it's all new seasons. Like Lloyd is from season 14, which isn't even out yet. Like, why are we celebrating things that haven't come out? It's 10 years of Ninjago, not like 2 years of Ninjago. So I really wish that they would have brought it back to the old designs, like at least for the merchandise, and just made golden minifigures of them, like based off of rebooted when they all went gold, and just like give Nia like one of those too.
Like I definitely like I and that's kind of where I think I was a little surprised by the sets is like it just I know people wanted like a lot of 10-year stuff, and a little surprised because you look at what they did for Star Wars for 20 years, and yes, I know probably Ninjago. I don't think Ninjago sells as well as Star Wars does, but Ninjago still has a good fan base, and I'm surprised they didn't try to go old school with that and kind of give back to the fans.
Yeah, I loved the 20th anniversary Star Wars figures. I know that some people had a problem with it, but I love that they went classic, that like they brought the old Darth Vader helmet back. Like I don't remember, did like the Leia minifigure have like the old hairpiece, not the new one?
I'm not sure. I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
don't know either. I didn't really get many of them. I just got like the Lando one because I liked that minifigure. Um, and then, but they didn't make them exact remakes because then, people could try flipping them. So they had like the 20th anniversary print on the back. That's really what I was hoping for with Ninjago. And I still like what we got. I just don't really love that they're all a mishmash and then they're not like from older seasons. But I don't really know if there's anything preventing them from going back to how they used to look, like even in merchandise. Like I'm sure they're never going to go back in the show, at least not now. But I wonder if like because they changed it in the show, like they just can't make minifigures based off of how they used to look.
Well, I feel like it's maybe not that they can't. I feel like, again, it's they want to keep the new fans into it. Like, they want to give the old fans a treat, but at the same time, they want to keep the new fans invested in it.
Yeah. All right.
And that's truth. Sorry, just to cover this, like with the whole garden leaking today, that's where I saw a lot of people have a problem with it. Is people were expecting it. People were expecting like a couple different things. First, people were expecting like a CMF, like a collectible minifigure series, which I believe that they got. That this the garden is essentially what a Ninjago what a TV show Ninjago, well, not a TV show, but like a Ninjago minifigure series that's non-movie would be. Is you would get, and this is kind of where I think Marvel and Star Wars fans have it wrong too with the whole minifigures thing, is people think that with collectible minifigure series, you're gonna get like basically all the exclusive characters you've never gotten before. But that's not the case. You're going to get basically the main characters. Like people think if you look at Star Wars, people are thinking, "Oh yeah, we're going to get all these exclusive characters." odds that 9 of the characters are just like the three main characters from each of the original trilogy, like of each of the trilogies, I think is nuts. Like I think that's the way is, and then you also have the people who wanted it to be like old school Ninjago, and then you see their disappointment because it's not. It's new school. It's rebooted. And that's just, and I don't know. I feel like people definitely. It's hard for Lego because like Lego definitely catered to the Ninjago 10-year anniversary, which I think is great. But at the same time, I definitely think it's kind of like people had way too high of expectations for it, and Lego didn't cater enough to it. So I think it's a little bit on both ends there.
Yeah, for me, the gardens aren't like for me the gardens are a great 10-year anniversary set because they don't celebrate the beginning of Ninjago, but instead what that set is giving me is the third expansion to like the Ninjago City and the Ninjago City docks from the Lego Ninjago movie. And yeah, I think the Lego Ninjago movie is definitely the worst Lego movie that they made. It's not horrible, but it's not as good as the other three. But I don't really care about that because the sets that they gave us for that movie were some of the best that Lego's ever made. Like the sets are fantastic, and Ninjago City and the Ninjago City docks were just insane. And I really loved those sets, and I'm so thrilled that we're getting another expansion to it because I never thought that we would. So honestly, like my joy over that just outweighs everything else for me.
Yeah, I personally I love the set, and I think like a lot of what we're getting is great. I'm just like I was literally I think reading different things today, like on Eurobooks and stuff like that, and I was seeing people like disappoint, like people hyped, like people personally hyped the setup, so it was they thought it again it was going to be like the perfect build, and then all like old school minifigures with like everyone we've like ever missed out on, like the mechanic, Dr. Julian, like a regular Cyrus Borg, Pixel, oh like all of that. Well, now that we've missed out on Pixel, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
then it's just like people see it, and it's just like they set themselves up for disappointment when you could see like obviously Lego, like you look at other D2Cs, like how they do for like with the Bat Cave, they're obviously going to do like casual. Lego loves doing casual versions and then suited up versions and a direct to consumer set because they feel like that's where they can, and it gives you more figures that you don't really need to design again. Plus, it fills up more spots.
Yeah, honestly, the minifigure selection for the gardens never once passed my mind. Like I know people were talking about like we're getting golden like legacy woo, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That was literally the first time I thought about what minifigures might come in the garden set, but I always expected it to just be like the ninja probably in casual wear and then just like a bunch of random civilians. It would have been great to see people like Cyrus Borg. But I mean, I think I'm going to be happy with what we got. I know that the image is super blurry, and I can't wait to see it in greater detail. But I think that it's going to be one of my favorite sets of next year for sure.
Like it's funny. It's like so I was actually planning on making a video about this, but like when it like when the Star Wars campaign won the 150 brick heads is you see with the Star Wars community, I know they have like MNR and like a big YouTuber backing it, but you never see like actual campaigns other than like well formulated campaigns for it. And I personally think um
You cut out.
first battle pack, but this is we want accurate legacy mini Ninjago minifigures. And I think that's something that if Ninjago fans really should push more, because if they were to push something like that in the same way that other hashtags have been pushed, I think, they would get some of the characters that they want. It's as much as Lego looks to fans for help, unless something really stands out, they're just going to go with what they believe tests well. So there's not going to be a lot of fan service. Like I think in the gardens there's ooh, like I know there's more than one. There's like 2 to 3 instances of fan service, but if they really wanted the fan service, I believe they should have spoken up and realized, okay, the how long do Lego sets usually take to design? Like 18 months. Okay, like maybe 2 years in advance, start pushing that to the point if Lego sees just how popular it is, they will be like, all right, we're going to take care of this in the 10 year. We're going to make the 10-year sets great. And then we're going to make the gardens like your CMF, you know?
Yeah. Okay, I think we should move on because we
Yeah,
we shouldn't be spending this much time on we still have a
we
lot of
talked.
questions to go. Um,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna skip some of them because one of them is about top 5 favorite movies. I think we should just stick to the Lego ones. Someone asks, "What are your theories for Lego 2022?" But I feel like that's kind of early.
Um, yeah. I'm sure. I don't have a. I mean, just I guess I don't know. I don't have a good idea of what's even coming out for in entertainment, and then so I haven't thought that far ahead.
I feel like the
Uh,
only thing you can bank on for 2022 is sets for the Marvel movies.
just there will be sets in 2022. That's the only statement I can make about that. Is there will be sets for themes in 2022.
All right, then someone says, "What time will the Spider-Man 3 sets come out, if not at the times that you speculated in your videos?"
Well, okay. So this is something actually very interesting that I was planning on. Probably the biggest, what I thought would be end up being one of the biggest videos on my channel, and that ultimately seems to be pushed off due to the whole awards that are coming up. I know we'll talk about that later, but so I'll say it like this: Lego seems to definitely have a new marketing strategy with these Lego sets, at least originally for some, is I think they're okay releasing it a month out. Before it was 2 to 3 months, but now I think they're okay with releasing it like 1 month out. So I think what it's supposed to come out in December, the movie I think of
Yeah, it's
2021.
December 2021.
So I would say November. November 20. Okay, so I'll put it like this: while some other movies set information is known, Spider-Man 3 sets are not. The set list for Spider-Man 3 is not public. It's not from in that list that I leaked. It's something different. But all I will say is that if what I have is correct, which I believe it is, this I think it will. I don't want to say cause. I don't know how to phrase this. Basically, this could be one of the greatest Lego waves of Marvel of all time, and I think it will. It will beat out Infinity War. It will beat out Endgame. It will beat out some of the other classics. I truly believe that when the Spider-Man 3 sets come out, they will go down as the greatest Marvel wave of all time for right now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because just how the movie is shaping up, and then also Far From Home. I think that the 3 Far From Home sets were pretty fantastic, especially the smaller two. And with that level of attention on a movie as big as like Spider-Man 3, like, like with the multiverse and Doctor Strange and all these returning characters, I can't wait for the minifigures. I think that's just going to be awesome.
I God, I don't want to give too much away because number one, I don't if like because the movie got moved. It's like my information's not 100% up to date yet, but it's like okay, I'll put it like this: if I'm right, I think that there's definitely going to be a very interesting take on the marketing done for Spider-Man 3, and I think people will very much enjoy it. And I do not think, like, I don't think there'll be complaints.
Well, I feel like there's always complaints in the Lego community, but I'm glad that
Well,
you
com-
don't think there's going to be any
well, complaints in the way like
like serious
how
complaints.
like people like with Endgame, people were like people thought like Endgame sets got criticism because of certain factors, and I believe those factors will not apply to the Spider-Man 3 sets.
Okay, that's great to hear.
I know, I know I had to be vague with that, but
I feel like I know where you're going with that, and I'm very happy about it.
I think people can take it based, and I'll put it like this: keep in mind who's in charge of marketing for this movie, and that company has a big reputation of something, so I think Sluice can figure that one out.
All right, then someone asks what your favorite CW character is.
I assume they're talking about Clone Wars.
Oh, I thought that they were talking about like the DC like Arrowverse shows.
Okay, I'll answer both of them. Uh, Clone Wars. I liked Cad Bane's character. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, Cad Bane, and I would love to see him. Like I know he like it's like canon. I'm not sure if it's canon or not. If he's dead, but I would love to see him return for the Boba Fett series. If you're talking about CW in terms of the DC shows, I always loved Cisco Ramon, like the vibe. I really like that character.
Yeah, I don't. I've never seen Clone Wars. My friend made me watch the last four episodes of like season seven, just because everyone said it was like so good, and because I wanted to see Ahsoka before Mandalorian season two. So I'm just gonna say Ahsoka for Clone Wars, just because I really like Ahsoka. But for DC, like I watch all the shows, and it's so hard to pick a favorite because some characters are so good sometimes and then so bad sometimes. But I really love Melissa Benoist as Supergirl. I just don't really like her show anymore, but I'm always going to love her performance as that character.
Did you get one of those exclusive DC fandom figures?
No, I'm so sad about it. That figure was so awesome. Like I hate how they only do Arrowverse minifigures as Comic Con exclusives. And when they did like Black Lightning and Vixen, I was fine with it because it's like those are like more minor characters. But when they do stuff like Green Arrow and like Atom and Arsenal and Supergirl, I'm like, come on. Like I want that Supergirl so bad. Like, especially because that outfit, her new season 5 outfit is so good, like with the bangs and like with the pants instead of the skirt. I love it. And so I'm really upset that I can't get that minifigure.
So it's kind of funny. I put it out there on my Instagram, like when people were getting there. It's like, oh wow, like, and some guy I know ended up, I think, getting like managed to somehow get 4 or 5 of them, and I'm just like, wow. But I always thought with the CW shows, like especially when they do it for Comic Con, there's like you always see such a big thing online, like why doesn't Lego do CW sets? Why doesn't Lego do CW sets? And then it's like I don't know. I never understood why they haven't at least tried one set.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I don't think the CW shows could sustain like an entire like wave of sets or like multiple waves. But why wouldn't they try one for like a crossover just with like all of the main characters? Because I feel like if they had made like one set for Crisis on Infinite Earths, like a good like $60 set with like 5 or 6 minifigures, I feel like that would have sold very well. But I also don't work at Lego, so maybe I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, there's always the thing. It's like you always question like what Lego thinks will sell and what Lego doesn't think will sell. But I don't know. It's not even like I feel like they could do like set on each, or at least go with like the Flash. Like I know that's their like biggest one, and they could do a set on that. It's just it's interesting to see if Lego will ever touch that. Like in the way like I know like will they ever touch that property in a way that's more than just this like San Diego Comic Con stuff.
I really hope they do. Okay, so the next question is, what's your favorite Lego theme?
Marvel superheroes. That's always been. That's the backbone. Like that's the backbone of like my Lego identity, I guess, and well, one of my backbones. And I think that it gets it gets a lot of negative stuff. Like like all right, I'll tell this story. So I like I ended up seeing like as you know like with my connections and stuff like that. I saw pictures of like the helicarrier long before it released, and I thought it was like I still to this day think that is probably the best like a Marvel superhero set. Like I think it's better than this Sanctum Sanctorum, and because I just thought it was perfect. You know, you get a great figure lineup, you get a fantastic build, and I know people were like, "Oh, you know, like people had problems with it," and I'm just like, I mean, and people were mad at me. They're like, "Oh, you overhyped this," and I'm like, I don't think I overhyped it because number one, that is my favorite set, and number two, it's like yeah, if you pay attention to my account, my whole thing is Marvel. So I don't know what you expect if I'm really promoting a Marvel set, you know?
Yeah, I definitely get that, but I feel like saying that the helicarrier is better than the Sanctum Sanctorum, I feel like those are fighting words. I feel like people are going to
That's
have
that
things to say.
I know people will have things to say, but that is like the Sanctum's number two on my list, but it's definitely like I love the Helicarrier. I think it's great. I don't see how they could have really done it better without adding like an additional like 50 to $60 on it. I think the Modoc and brick build is great. I think the figure selection is better than in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Oh
That
yeah, for sure.
that you can't argue with me there. But oh yeah, I was like okay, like here's a big difference. Like you look at Black Widow, that Black Widow was perfect. You look at like a key figure in the Sanctum set, Spider-Man, the Iron Spider. That suit is not perfect. That suit had bad leg print things. So I know that's definitely it might not be the most popular opinion, but that is an opinion I will stick with my heart and soul on. Is that the Helicarrier is my favorite Lego Marvel superhero set, and I think one of the best set, probably the best set they've ever done in that line.
Yeah, I mean, I like the new helicarrier. I think it definitely got some undeserved hate, but I also feel like it got some deserved hate. I feel like they could have done a couple of things a little bit better without increasing the price. And personally, I like the Sanctum like much better. I love that set because my problem with the helicarrier is that I think it's a great toy in like certain ways. Like because you have all that functionality, you've got the prison, you've got the interior. So I think it's like a fantastic toy, but it's not a great display piece for like adult fans. Whereas the Sanctum, I think, was the perfect toy and the perfect display piece. Um, And I feel like that's why people don't like the helicarrier as much, because I think some people in the Lego community find it very difficult to get over the fact that like not every Lego set is made for adults. Just like some comments on like brick set and Euro bricks, I'm like, why are grown adults complaining this much about like toys meant for like 8-year-olds?
And that's the odds are they aren't fully grown adults. They lie about their age. But it's like when I know with the helicarrier, I look at it, it's like, okay, if you want the perfect display piece, there's like a $300 set that you can go buy. I think it's like
But I
for
mean, like
like with
to
the
be fair, that
plays.
one's not available anymore. So like you can't
Well,
really,
it was like you know what I mean. It
yeah,
was
like
like
they already made a. You're right. Like they already made
they
like
already made the
like.
display piece of it.
Although
It's
then all the micro scale haters are going to complain that it was micro scale. They're going to be like,
okay if you really like want like like look at the like even people hate the Death Star because it doesn't have panels, you know? Like people are always going to find ways to nitpick sets that are great, and like it's just people have their opinions, and like mine is that I think that the it's if I get why people think the Sanctorum might be better, but I definitely think it is I think the argument can at least be made for someone outside of myself that the Helicarrier is the best vehicle Marvel has put out.
oh, for sure. Um, all right. So moving on to our next question. Someone says, "Do you think Ninjago will ever end?"
Mm, that's a hard question. I no, I don't think so. I think like it depends on what they mean. Like, do they mean the theme itself discontinued? I think it Ninjago is considered an evergreen theme in the same way Star Wars and superheroes are. It doesn't have like an end date in sight. It's something that Lego's just going to keep producing sets. At some point, I think the TV show will stop and they'll stop making new like continuity to it. Like at this some point, like the story will stop and maybe it will get rebooted like with new characters or something like that. But I think the part of the reason they introduced the legacy line is so they can keep like remaking stuff in its own way.
Yeah, and I love the Legacy line because so many of the Legacy sets were like sets that I dreamed of like when I was a kid, like like when I was 12 and I started my channel and I was watching like what I thought was the last season of Ninjago, like the second season. Like I was just like thinking like, "Oh my God, it would be so cool to have this set or that set." And so it's really nice that like 7 years later they're making those sets that I was thinking of when I was a kid. And I really don't think the theme will end. Like obviously I don't know any like inside information, but Ninjago seems to be extremely popular. It seems to be a really strong seller. So I think that as long as it's making money for Lego, they're not gonna end it.
So one of the things is I definitely think Ninjago has like the weirdly like a specific following, if that makes sense, like in a different way like than most of the themes do. And I don't think it's ever really going to die. So I think they're going to just keep putting out different sets as long as they believe it will sell. Though I will say I biggest complaint about the legacy line is at least with a couple of the sets, they've really like I have been collecting Ninjago ever since like the pilot season. I haven't been collecting it like all the sets through, but for some of the ones that I've been collecting, I've like they've cut out in the legacy some of the best parts of the old sets, and I've just been like, really? Like like they've cut out like the Great Devourer or the Temple of Light, and I've just been like, that would have been so cool to see updated. I'm surprised they cut it out.
So two things about Legacy for me is I think that there's a real lack of villain focused things in Legacy, which is a huge shame because like I feel like they're going to dramatic lengths to cut like villains out of the Legacy line, like the way that Garmadon was removed from this year's Destiny's Bounty, or like how they made Zayn's Titan mech battle the exact same name as the 2015 set, and instead they put a ton more effort into like the most boring part of that set, which was Zayn's mech, instead of like also remaking the really awesome like evil like samurai mech. And I don't really like that because they're like Ninjago villains are so cool, and they've had such great like villain like builds and vehicles and structures. And so I think it's a real shame that we aren't getting more of that in Legacy, because imagine getting like a standalone like $120 like Great Devourer set. I would lose my mind. That was the number one thing I wanted in 2012.
Yeah, I think that would be okay. So speaking to your point about the sets with the exact same name, I I'm trying not to step on anyone's toes again here, but I think uh, basically that will rear its head again in what I think many people will initially view as potentially one of the God, I laughed about it. I'll put it like that. So you guys can take that in whatever way you think, but there's definitely something where it's like people, yeah, people will see like the exact same name repeated again.
The other thing about Legacy for me is that like the whole point of Legacy is to remake sets bigger and better than they were before. So it really confuses me that some of them are like the exact same size, and also sometimes when they increase the size, I feel like the set really doesn't get any better compared to the original. So the new X1 Ninja Charger, it looks awesome, but it's the same exact like size and functionality as the original. So I don't really get what like, so obviously you're remaking it for the fans that weren't maybe alive or watching the show back when the set originally came out. So I understand that aspect. But the other aspect of Legacy is like why they release a new X-Wing every year. It's because you want like the collectors like us to like buy the remakes because they're supposed to have something different from the originals. And so for sets like the X1 Ninja Charger, I feel like it doesn't really do anything new. And then for sets like the Kai Fighter and the Thunder Raider from 2020, I don't like those remakes at all because I feel like they're just like uselessly bigger. Like they're bigger, but for no purpose because they have no better features and honestly, sometimes worse features than the original.
I definitely feel like they will end up coming back to like fix like they'll definitely I feel like it might I don't know how long it will be, but I definitely feel like eventually they'll come around to fixing some of at least the more expressed problems with Legacy.
All right, and then let's move on to the next question, which is do you have any insider info on why LEGO has not capitalized more on the Mandalorian and Clone Wars in recent years?
Okay, well, so again, this is where I first of all the Clone Wars. I this when I see questions like this, it always makes me laugh that I don't think people understand how long it takes to design how what the Lego process is. Like usually it takes around 18 months to fully design and like I I think it includes production, but I'm not 100% sure. Like design and produce a set. Lego can do it in like 12 months. They can cut down the time, I think, by a lot, but that was considered a rush job. And I really know of off the top of my head of two instances where they've done that, and that was with the Razor Crest and with the Harry Potter Advent Calendar. Both of those sets just made their deadlines, but the Razor Crest was done because I think it was originally probably going to come out like this winter, like winter of 2021, but Lego knew that they had to get a Baby Yoda out on the market as soon as possible, so that was considered expedited. And then I know with the Advent Calendar, they wanted it, so they expedited it. But if you look at Clone Wars, it's like Lego just didn't know it was going to be that popular, so they only released two sets because they figured that's all they would need. They didn't know it would become that popular. And then with The Mandalorian, it's the same thing. Yeah, they're going to release stuff, but now they didn't think it would take over in the sense. So if if you have, so what I've been saying all along, and I said this in a video, is if you're going to look at the Mandalorian, if you're to really judge um the Mandalorian, like if Lego's not capitalizing off Mandalorian, wait till the summer wave. If there is not a lot of Mandalorian sets, then they are not capitalizing it on it for some reason. But I, again, I believe and I think there's a lot of evidence to show that we will be getting much more Mandalorian sets in the summer. So again, I don't think it's all, but it's them. It's not really even them. And it's like you look at the secrecy with Mandalorian. It's like it's not Lego like purposefully avoiding it. It's them. It just takes a while to design a set. It's not like a Funko or other toys where it's like, oh, they can design it in like 3 months. No, it takes literally around 18 months.
So, like, my opinion on like what you said about like expediting sets and everything. So when you say the advent calendar, are you talking about the 2019 one or the 2021?
2019.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought that you meant. And with that one, I feel like you can tell that it was expedited because it's a great advent calendar, still like my second favorite after the Harry Potter 2021. But I mean, four of the days in that calendar were just the same flag build in different colors. So cracks like that, I feel like kind of showed that it was a bit rushed. But with the Razor Crest, I never would have thought that it was supposed to release like January 2021. In fact, when it was revealed in like February 2020, I was like, wow, why are they waiting so long to release it? But from what you said, like it makes perfect sense that like they hadn't planned to release it like earlier than like for season two.
So you look at it with that, it's most likely they had it designed enough where they felt like they could do it, but it was most like that's why I think we'll see a Baby Yoda change or Grogu event like probably with the summer, but because I feel like that was the one that was probably expedited the quickest. And yeah, again, like I think they came out with the advent calendar and they even said it at some point. It was like, yeah, we only had like 12 months to design it, which is like unheard of for the Lego community or like in the Lego design process. So again, I would not judge any be I would not blame Lego until the summer list for this year comes out. If there's zero Mandalorian or just one Mandalorian set, then I would be like, oh, they're what are they doing? But until then, I don't think it's fair to blame because of literally design process time.
And honestly, I feel like what they've been doing with the Mandalorian sets like made a lot of sense. Like they released one at the same time that season one came out, right? They released like the ATST. That made sense to me because it's let's release a medium sized set for like it was the first Disney Plus original series, right? Like no one knows how it's going to perform. So it made a lot of sense to me that they would just try one set. And then in January, right, like we got the battle pack, and then they had the Razor Crest, the brick heads, like the child set. Now we're getting Encounter on Tatooine. Like that makes a lot of sense to me that they would like kind of dip their toes in by starting with one set and then they would ramp up the number of sets as like the franchise like proves itself.
And now that the franchise has proven itself to the point it's the cultural phenomenon that it is, then you take a look at, okay, when's the biggest possible time for them to go big with it? And that in the case is this summer of 2021. You look at that, and that will be the biggest determination.
Yeah, and I don't know, like people have been talking about like the new Encounter on Tatooine set. I really don't like it, and I'm kind of surprised at how many people do like it. Like I'm surprised that like my opinion isn't like is like kind of going against the grain because I just feel like it's such a boring set for season two, and it's like nothing special. Like I feel like at least even like the ATST they released, right? Like at least that was something like new because they had like a red leg and like new like alien minifigures, and then also it was the first Mandalorian set. But the Encounter on Tatooine set, I just don't like the builds. I feel like it's just really lame as like our first set from season two, and then I feel like everyone's getting suckered into thinking it's like a fantastic set just because it has one good minifigure.
Well, I think it's like it's definitely like when I originally saw and like heard that like the details that was coming on, like, oh, this is going to divide people because you're going to have the people who think, wow, this is okay. It for what it is. Like if you look at it as a $30 Star Wars set, it's fine. And then you like throw in a cheap way to get the child and then the best car armor for Mando, it's like, oh wow, it's great. I think people just are definitely craving Mandalorian stuff. Like in reality, when like in a year or so, when the final like when people make their new Mandalorian, like oh list videos for the top 10 Mandalorian sets and stuff like that, Encounter on Tatooine won't be very high, but I think right now people are definitely desperate for the Mandalorian sets. There's a fantastic figure in it. It's a cheap way to get the child. I mean, yeah. So I don't think I think it's going to be one of those sets I think that will end up probably going down in price in the aftermarket, but it's going to be popular now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. I definitely think people are desperate for Mandalorian content. And that kind of leads us into our next question, which is how many sets do you think that there's going to be for Mandalorian season two in summer 2021?
That's a hard question to answer. Um, I have to think about. Okay, basically, I feel like it will. We will see one of two. Oh, this is hard to answer. Look, I think they're going to go hard for the Mandalorian, and this is. I'll just be blunt here. I think they're going to go hard for the Mandalorian. I think we're going to get a lot of catching. Lego's not going to want to pass up the opportunity for this, so I think we're going to get all caught up this summer. I think we're going to get a new child model. I think we're going to get something new for the dark saber. I think Moff Gideon will come. I think we'll get Bo. I think we'll get Ahsoka. I think we'll get majorly caught up.
I really hope so because I liked I don't know. So I have conflicted feelings about the Mandalorian season two. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Like like my friend is a huge Star Wars fan, so she basically makes me watch everything with her. Like she made me watch all of the sequel trilogy movies like in theaters opening night with her, even though I don't really care about it. But The Mandalorian was like the first piece of Star Wars content that I really liked. And I quite enjoyed season one. And so I was super excited for season two. And then there were all the rumors about them bringing in the Clone Wars characters, which I knew a little bit about because of my friend. And then just because about Lego, like because of Lego, I've spent like a decent amount of time on the Star Wars wiki. So I was really excited to see people like Ahsoka and Bo Katan in live action. But then when watching season two, like for me, like the show for season two of like the Mandalorian show, I just thought it was weak with good individual episodes. but as a season, it was kind of useless to me and it felt like a waste of time. So I'm really hoping that we get good sets for it in the summer because I felt like it was a little bit of a waste of time watching it, and then like we don't even have any good Lego sets for it in January, and so I just really hope that we see like Ahsoka and Bo-Katan minifigures over the summer.
See, I disagree with you there. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed. I mean, the only place where I think I was in the minority for this season is I didn't think the Ahsoka episode was as great as people said it was. Like personally, I liked like the next episode probably a little better. But I think we're gonna see a slave one. I think we're gonna see Lego try. They people might even say it might be a little too much, but I think we're gonna see Lego definitely not just be dipping their toes in the water, but fully jumping in.
I'm really excited for that because I don't know, like season two, I just felt like it didn't flow well because it seemed like every single episode was just setting up a different spin-off. Because, like, just in my head, season two had no plot whatsoever. Like, in my head, the plot of season two was find other Mandalorians, find a Jedi, Baby Yoda gets kidnapped, get him back, and then the season's over. Like, that could have been, like, I feel like that's enough plot for like 2 or 3 episodes of a show, not 8. And even though I liked seeing the Clone Wars characters, I was kind of just like, I get it, you're getting a spin-off show. Can we like do something with Baby Yoda? Because I mean, it's not like he even like used the Force this season. He kind of just sat there and then sat on a rock and then got kidnapped and then Luke showed up. And that really annoyed me because I'm like, can we just get one piece of Star Wars content without like a Skywalker in it?
Yeah, no, that I thought they were gonna do a different Jedi for that.
Yeah, so did I. And I mean, again, this is coming as someone who's a very casual Star Wars fan, but like knows a decent amount of lore just because I read the wiki. And it's just, I really liked The Mandalorian season one because it was separate from like, it was separate from everything else in Star Wars, but still like a little bit connected because it still had like, you know, the same stormtroopers. It had like the Death Troopers from Rogue One. It still had like Empire stuff. But then like with Luke showing up and taking like Baby Yoda, I'm just like, I was just done. I was like, why can't we get like any other Jedi? I still liked seeing him. I think it's interesting, but like give me a spin-off show about young Luke, but like through the eyes of a Jedi at his school, not where he's like a supporting character, not where he's the main character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, this isn't really the time or place for my thoughts on live action Star Wars. So we just have one last question, and that was, do you think Lego should only give original themes 3 years and then move on to another creative concept?
Well, how do I say this? I think so. What I think people don't understand is with Lego, with Lego's original themes, they're usually considered, at least most of them, Big Bang themes. They get a media like either, I guess in Hidden Side it wasn't just a like a TV show, but then they last for like not like around 3 years. If it's selling terrible, they'll cancel stuff. Like I know for Next on Nights, they canceled a good amount of stuff for it. But in like usually with Big Bang, like there's one and done where it's like you're gonna get like monster fighters, which or like there's themes like they're designed to get like one or two waves of sets and then just be done. But with the Big Bang themes that are intended to last it 3 years, if like that's if they sell very poorly, Lego will cancel like it at a certain point. If they sell average to good, they will let it run its course and then find something new. If it sells amazing, they'll keep it going. The one theme that they've ever had that sold amazing was Ninjago, and that's why it was brought back. But I think it's a strategy Lego's been doing for a while now, and I don't see them changing.
Yeah, I feel like you shouldn't set out like to make a theme. Like I think it makes sense for stuff like Chima and Exo Knights Ninjago to say like, okay, we want this to last 3 years, but I don't think you should ever run something for a specific amount of time just to hit some kind of milestone. Like if it's not selling well, or if like the sets aren't good or whatever, then yeah, then cancel it. And like Ninjago, if it's fantastic, then keep it going. Um, I'm kind of wondering what happened with Hidden Side because I feel like a lot of people really loved the Hidden Side sets, even if they didn't like the app so much. But I feel like they must not have sold very well because I mean, all of the sets that came out at the end of August were like discontinued immediately. I mean, like the Mystery Castle, like I really wanted that set. That was awesome. It's been sold out at like every retailer since November, and Lego's not making more. So I feel like that's one of those sets that's going to become like crazy expensive in just like a year, like the Ultra Agents, like Ocean HQ. And I feel like it's really weird that they would just discontinue all of those sets right after they came out.
Well, I mean, I think s- like usually with I'm going to use Hidden Side as an example. With Hidden Side, H- Hidden Side, they tried something. They wanted the app. Like this is this is not. I made this joke in the past. It's kind of accurate, kind of not. Hidden Side was essentially taken out by Mario
Oh,
in the way that like Mario's app integrated, Mario has technology to it. Like Legos wanted something like that on the market. Hidden Side's app was terribly developed. It was very buggy. Um, and like that's one of the things like Legos struggled with was technology stuff, and hopefully Mario changes that. But you look at like dimensions and stuff like that was like they've never really had success there, and to the point where they've had to cancel things when it's like awesome things are coming. Like we would have had a Shrek mini figure by now if Dimensions wasn't canceled. I think that when themes are released with certain like aspects in mind, they won't. They will just kind of like if that concept fails, the theme fails, and Lego's just done with it. Like Lego's not going to keep Hidden Side going if the app is like terrible. There's no point to it. They're not going to change it. The only theme they can get away with that is Mario because once at some point like Lego kind of has the perfect model with Mario. They have a great working partnership with Nintendo now. At some point they're going to just switch it. They're going to cut off the technology aspect and just make minifigures because they know that will sell too. Like literally, but like I think it was in an interview, Nintendo, like someone in Nintendo said, yeah, we wanted to do minifigures, but Lego wanted to do this whole thing with like the design your levels and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just see it as if Lego Lego's much more easy to abandon concepts than you would think.
with Mario, honestly, I feel like it's kind of a smart business decision because I agree. Like they said, they've been developing it for like 4 years. I'm sure we'll see minifigures eventually, but if they released this like weird technology thing with minifigures at the same time, I think the weird technology thing would sell a lot worse because just from like my perspective as a consumer, if I had minifigures or some weird electronic Mario available at the same time, I would go for minifigures. But I don't have minifigures right now. I just have the electronic block. So I'm going to buy like a ton of Mario sets just because I want Lego Mario. And
And I think that's another case of Lego having their cake and eating it too. They get to release the all these sets that people they know buy because people love the world building aspect of it, and then they know when sales to that even start to dip the slightest, they can boom change the model to something they know will sell.
Yeah, I honestly wonder if they have like minifigure scale like Mario sets like designed in headquarters, like just waiting until they see the light of day.
No,
Um,
no comment on that.
I'm sure that they have something, at least like prototype models. I find like the whole Lego design process really interesting, and I want to find out more about it because I don't know. I think that's like the coolest job.
I'll say this: no comment on it, but but no comment, but I think that's the best way. Look, I'll say this: they're continuing. It's not. You won't. God, I don't know how to answer this. Um, but I feel like they will integrate minifigures at some point in different ways. I would stay tuned in 2021 for potentially something in a way that there's there's something coming. I don't know if it's minifigures, but there's something coming. I think that's a good way of answering that.
All right, well, that's good to hear. So that pretty much does it for our questions, but I think that you do have an awards show coming up that you wanted to talk a little bit about, right?
Oh, yeah, so this is actually a fun story. So originally I don't even know what made me think of the idea. Oh yeah. So I like to watch a lot of different YouTubers like Jeremy Johns and stuff like Good Mythical Morning and stuff like that. And they are doing all these 2020 recap. Like they do, like I know Jeremy Johns releases like his top 10 best movies and top 10 worst movies, and like Good Mythical Morning's been like recapping their best moments of this year, and it's like it's just something where I look at it and it's like, dang, like they don't like yeah, people have their top 10 stuff, but there's no like really like looking back at the Lego community. They look at people look at sets, but people don't look at the community. So I kind of was just jokingly like, all right, yeah, like I have enough of a following where I can do something kind of, silly and do something fun. And then it started to really blow up. And then I was just kind of sitting there looking at my phone, and I'm just like damn, this needs to be serious now. But it's turning into this huge thing. Like I know people have contacted me about wanting to have watch parties for it. We have several big names in the Lego community signed up for like host like doing presenting awards. And like literally most of my stories will get like 500 to like 800 responses like on a question. These like the nominations, I was getting thousands of nominations, and I'm just like, oh god, I have to go through all that. It's it's turning into this whole big thing. Stay like I want to make it the best I can. I think it's going to be something amazing. um More details will be about it soon, but we have some very, very special guests lined up outside of the Lego community. Like right now, one of the cooler ones I think is how do I say this? We have a potential singer coming into it, like a pretty well famous singer. Um, he might be coming on. We have a Hollywood screenwriter coming on, and we have many more people that negotiations are happening. It's turning into something I never thought it would, and I think, as people have told me so far, I think this will be the Lego event of the year for the Lego community anyway.
That sounds really awesome. I'm really interested to see how you pull these big names,
I'm not
and
sure how I'm going to pull all this off, but we'll see.
because it sounded like a really interesting concept to me, and I was like, oh, I wonder how many people are interested in that because I saw all of this stuff on your Instagram story, and so it's great to hear that so many people are like in your story replies in your DMs,
Yeah,
and
like I
so
was like when I originally like was like, wow, this is getting pretty big. I got people like Well, like if you're considering making it like huge, can you do like advertising breaks? We'll pay you for advertising, like commercials and stuff like that. And I'm just like, wow, people are really into this because I think it's a concept like there is a Lego community. There's like it's something like this hasn't really been fully done before, and I think that's great, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I'm sure like knowing like people like Just Too Good, and if like you can get them involved and with their fan bases, I'm sure it will turn into something like huge and collaborative,
Like
and that's going to
if
be
with Just Too Good specifically, Just Too Good is on the project. I can confirm that.
I know
And the
it
fun
sounds like the kind of thing that he would do.
and the funny thing is, it wasn't something where like I had to go to him for it. He came to me and he's like, "I want to be involved with this," and I was like, "Wow, okay, let's do it." And then Ash and Flash is involved as well, and so is M&R. Those are some big names I have on it right now that I can confirm from the Lego community. Trying to get Jang involved, but there's a lot going on. I'll say that, and stay tuned because I think people will be shocked at just how big this is.
If you can get Jang involved, I think that that would be the biggest get because to me, like Jang is such a big Lego YouTuber, but he's so separate. I feel like from people like Just Too Good and Ash and Flash. Like Just Too Good and Ash and Flash have huge fan bases. They're very popular. I feel like among younger fans like us and like the Instagram community. But Jang is like kind of like untouchable to me as like the king of like Lego YouTube, like in my eyes.
Yeah, he.
Um, and
Fun
Jang just
fact: I'm
has
around the
like
same age as Justin and Ash.
yeah, like he like Jing just has that like four quadrant appeal. Like I feel like if you're 8 years old, you can watch him, and if you're 50 years old, you can watch him. And so I
It's
really hope that he gets involved because
yeah. One of the interesting things about Jang is like, in a way, like I feel like you see it like, not that Jang stays like separate from, like, Jang kind of just does his own thing in a way. Like, he does his set reviews. I know he started to get into look like comments like on pictures and stuff like that recently, but it's like, in a sense, you kind of see him like I love his videos and everything, but you see him kind of as kind of as like just like, I don't want to say separate from the Lego community, but like you see him like he does his own thing in a way. Like, it's not where it's like, So I think getting him might be a little harder than it was to get some of the other people I've gotten on this project, but I'm working on everything.
I really hope that you can get him involved. I think that'll be really cool. For all of my subscribers, I'm going to do a shameless self plug here and say to go nominate me for best new Lego YouTuber. Um, but yeah, I think that this award show is a great idea. I can't wait to see it come together, and I think that it could be something really special.
Yeah, it's something where I'm also like, yeah, I know I initially had like 8 or like 10 categories to start, but I know people that came to me, it's like they have new ideas and stuff like that, and it's something where I might have to push it back a little bit just to accommodate how big it's getting, because I think it's going to take a little longer to do that. And I think that this is something that, if this is successful and it's as big as people like as I think it's going to be, it's something that I think will become a yearly tradition. I doubt I'll stay the host of it forever, but if it's something I can just at least start, I think that will be, as much as leaking is my defining legacy in the Lego community, I think this will be too.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Thank you for talking to me in this Q&A. For all of my subscribers, you can go check out Falcon Fan on his YouTube channel. I'll link to that in the description. And I hope that we get some more news on this awards show soon.
I think you will. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot longer than I thought it was, but
Same here.
Yeah, that's it for today. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.